So today we will be heading for some different factories, and one of them is, where do we go, Ben?
Now we go to our certification lamps to show you how we do all our lamps certifications to keep them meet all the EU market
requirements. Yes. Okay. So the lab that we will be visiting now is basically one of the largest one in China, I assume, right? It's which also makes them one of the largest in the world, actually. So this testing lab is a huge testing lab, and they are able to do, all certificates, also for the US market. And for us, it's quite important that they can do it for the European market. This is a very important thing when it comes to products that you want to either have yourself, like design from the very bottom, or just products that you want to import, because making sure that you have the CE certificate and all the other certificates that is needed is your responsibility. Even if you are just buying a product that is finished and buy it as a trading product, you still have the responsibility as the first importer to your country. So make sure that you have that in place every time that you import a product, and the process is a little bit more complex if you have your own product, but I will come more into details with that later. At Luxega, safety is the most important thing for us, and with safety there comes a huge responsibility to choose the right laboratories that can do the testing for you. We have decided to cooperate with some of the biggest laboratories in the world, and that goes for electrical components, measurements, and also for IP testing and salty testing and so on. The test lab that I'm sitting in right now is one of our partners, and they are really good when it comes to electrical measurements. So that is what I want to show you in this video. We will go through leakage current measurements, with LVD, for instance, and different other aspects of the standards. Then we also have chambers where we have controlled heat, where we are able to basically measure a lot of different things. There's also glow wire testing. And then we have the IP testing here as well, which I will explain. And aside of that, a few other testing which is aligned with the paint. It can be salty water, so we are sure that the luminaires and LED inserts is perfectly aligned with what we offer. So just to let you know, this laboratory that I'm sitting right now, there is machines for probably around 2.5 or maybe $3 million US. And this is just this floor. Then we have another floor downstairs where there is even higher amount of machines installed. So it is quite important to have partners when it comes to these testing facilities. Otherwise you can use a lot of money on a lot of different machines, and you are not really totally sure that you have all in place, because this is not a third part, it's your own testing. So what we really try to do is that we have our own testing, and then we have the third part measurements, which is also making sure that we are trustable, because these measurements that you get from Luxega is not our own. It's something from Laboratories, which is the biggest in the world. When we are testing at Luxega, we are testing for a lot of different things, and we also have machines that is testing something about performance, which is not really needed when it comes to the certificates that we are providing. This machine that I'm standing with right now is testing for class 1, 1460 voltage, and also for class 2 it is 2920 voltage. And why we need that is for the LVD. So this part of machine is something that we need for making sure that our safety is in place. The test is basically just put it in a way so you have the voltage directly, put it into the luminaire, and then you have the ground on the other side of the luminaire where you are able to manage what is happening. So if this luminaire is passing or not passing, that is really the first step before we enter into the other machines that we are using for testing our street lighting. Another test that we are doing here at the laboratory, it is the test for insulation resistance. And this test is quite important as well if you want to make sure that your product is aligning with the LED standard. When I test here, it is based on the 500 voltage, which is standard, and then you are into the insulation setup with the resistance that you can also see according to the standard. So if I press here, you will be able to see that it's actually starting. And it should be below what?
Below, which means that meter requirements.
So below means that it is meeting the requirements. The machine that we have right here is the machine there is using for the earthing resistance. It is also known as the machine there is making sure that the liquid's current will not be too high. And according to standard, there is specific needs there. So right now, this is only used in this case here for class 1 luminaires. We normally do not use class 1 luminaires when it comes to our setup in, for instance, Denmark and other North Europe countries. But if we go to other countries, class 1 luminaires is more seen. And for that, we have to use this machine. Testing the leakage current for class 2 luminaires is normally done with this machine that I'm standing with right now. So the test is quite simple in a way that you are simulating that this one will be a human being's finger. And you can start the process here just by pressing the start button. Then it starts, you can see the luminaire is turning on, and I will be simulating a finger coming into the parts where you can maybe get electric shock. If it's not shutting down, then we have a problem. This was shutting down, which means that this luminaire is completely approved according to the leakage current for class 2 luminaires. This box that I'm standing with right now, or I could say what I'm standing with right now, is an important field when it comes to the IEC standard. So first of all, I just want to list different things that we test here. It's all about temperature. There is a two-sided wall here which makes it possible for this room to be completely without any wind. So there will be no wind or not any other temperature variations. So if you have like 25 degrees, then it's completely stable inside this room that I'm standing with. Back to what we're testing here. When we have the consistent temperature, we are looking into the temperature variations in the cables, in the lamp housing, also in different parts, like let's say the driver and so on. There is different temperatures which is limits where we can use into, let's say, case parts intended to be gripped by hand. So that is typically the parts there is nearby the hand. That's in this case here for street lighting. It can be the lamp housing. It must not be higher than 75 degrees. So you are testing different temperatures in different areas on the luminaire, and it's crucial to have this testing here, especially if you want to have a completely safety luminaire, both for LED inserts but also for LED streetlights. Right now is machines that is used for glow wire test. It can be a lot of different standards. There is directly in parallel with these types of tests. So the machine that I'm with here, there is 4 different, but this one here is capable of aiming for around 900 degrees as a needle flame. You're using that typically if you want to use the luminaire in places where it's actually an option. There can be a fire and the luminaire still has to be in good condition. So this specific machine is first of all extremely expensive, and we use it typically for our LED inserts and also for our street lighting. There is also this machine here. You can get other temperatures according to the standards that you have a need to that you want to have completed, and then we have two other machines here as well. This machine we are using for testing specific the lenses and other plastic parts there is in the luminaire. There is an object inside here, as you can see, and inside the chamber here we have 75 degrees. The test is 1 hour, and what is basically is doing is that since we are using lady lenses, we could maybe say that lady already have that test, and that's correct, but we also want to do the test ourselves. So that's why we basically just have included this test chamber in our setup as well for making sure that the safety is perfect. So how it's made, how it's completed the test is that you have the lenses installed in the object down here, and then there is basically just a pressure on the lens, in this case here polycarbonate, and then you should not have anything like there is above 1 millimeter, which is based on that type of node that you have here. So the node, it's pretty heavy, this one, so it's just pressing down the lens area, and if you can see an area there is above 1 millimeter afterwards, a pressure, then it will not go through the test. So this is a very important test if it comes to you know, especially street lighting there is installed in places where there is hot weather. It can be Dubai, for instance, or other places in the Middle East. This is crucial to have that test. Another test that we are doing for our streetlights and also our LED insert, it is the salt test. There is different machines that we use for that. One of the machines here is the smaller one, where we can basically just add our LED insert inside this area, and then it will be completely covered with salty water. Why we do these tests is to make sure that if our LED inserts are installed nearby the sea, or also it can be like places where there's just salty weather in general in the air, then you have better, let's say, opportunity to see if that LED insert is actually possible to be there for many years instead of just like having huge problems with the weather. There is two different ways that we operate. That goes for our LED streetlights and also our LED inserts. Most likely we deliver with C4, so standard E4 in terms of the paint that you're using, the treatments and so on. Then we also use C5, that is close to the sea. C5 we test for 2,500 hours in this machine here. And then we are able to make sure that the stability of the street light lamp housing will be okay in many years ahead. So the C5 is something that has a little bit higher cost, but it's really small money compared to that you will not have any issues when it comes to installation nearby the sea. What I'm standing in right now is AkzoNobel. So AkzoNobel is the paint that we are using, and we are using that especially for the C5 because that is the excellent choice when it comes to high quality paint that has to last for many years. All our LED inserts and LED streetlights is walking through the test of IP. So what I'm standing right now is the first letter or first number in the IP setting. So we have the dust, and you basically just place the LED insert or LED streetlight inside this chamber here, and then there is a lot of dust moving around in the chamber. And you will be able to test how the amount of dust there will be entering the luminaire or the LED insert afterwards. And by having that data, you are able to conclude which number that has to be listed. So that means that in this case here, we normally operate with 6, which is IP65. I come to the next letter later, and then from there we basically just have that letter in place, and we are able to give it the right IP rating according to the standard. The last number in the IP is about water. Here you are testing 3 meters from the luminaire with this water head. What will happen is that basically you are testing whether the water will enter from different angles. So the water head here is with an extremely strong water beam, and then you are able to, from different angles, to make sure that there will be no water entering. Depending on where you want to go when it comes to the number, then you also have to make sure to use the right components inside the luminaire to meet those requirements. In this case, we are normally operating with 5 or 6. That means that our LED inserts or LED luminaires are normally delivered as IP65 or IP66. We have now arrived at the test center, and I want to show you some different things when it comes to the testing processes there has to be done when you have electrical products. And it also goes for a lot of other products, and that was kind of interesting to let you know that if you have your own product, then you also have to go through all these certificates that is needed to enter the different markets. So, for instance, if you go to US with your market, you will definitely need the UL certificate, and a lot of other certificates there is maybe not needed for the European market, and vice versa. So always remember, when you have your own product, go through the different certificates that is needed, and of course it costs some money, but when it comes to an end, if you avoid to have those kind of certificates in place, it can be a lot more expensive for you, and you can put the human being that is using the product into danger. So avoid that first of all. So let's just jump around here and see how the test facility is looking like, and then you can maybe have a closer idea about what you have to go through with your product when it comes to just entering the market with your exciting product. When it comes to EMC testing, we have decided at Luxega to do it in the most professional way, which is that we manufacture the LED insert using our AI model, and from there we add the LED insert into the old luminaire. We test the EMC with the old luminaire where there's included our LED insert. This is a way to avoid that there will be any issues when it comes to the standards that we are providing for this solution that we have for LED inserts. Not many are doing that. Many is doing the LED inserts testing, and then they basically do the EMC for that specific product without the installation of the product in the original luminaire. I believe the most important thing when it comes to these EMCs tested is that you have the LED insert installed in the original luminaire, because if doing so, you are 100% sure that you align with the standard. So EMC testing is quite unique. I'm standing here in one of the largest rooms that we have around the area. It is our third-party partner who are able to do the measurements for us, and then we are sure it aligns perfectly with the standards needed. Right now, we do not have anything for US market, but we are only focusing on the European market, which means that our standards is directly in parallel with what is needed in the European market. So the EMC, just to tell a little bit about how it's working, it is that you have placed the LED insert and the old luminaire on this area that I'm standing with right now. It is rotating 360 degrees, and then you have an antenna there is measuring the radiation of the object there is placed right here. So it's quite unique setup, and a very important measurements if you want to make sure that you do not have any disturbance on the net. So yeah, happy to be in this facility right now to show you around, because this is one of the most important tests. Of course, all of them is important aligned together, but this is really, really important test that we are doing here in this room. When we test our street lights and also LED inserts at Luxega, we also test with the EMI. It is electromagnetic interference. That test is one of the most crucial ones when you want to achieve the CE documentation. And we are doing it in two different ways. So first of all, when we have LED inserts, we install the LED inserts in the original luminaire, so we are able to make the EMI testing for the complete luminaire and make sure that we actually are able to get the standard that is needed. Second, it is if we have our own luminaire, which we have designed ourselves, then we also go through the EMI. It's pretty much the same process, and you will use this machine that I'm standing with right now, and it's a controlled temperature room that I'm standing in, which is also something which is very important. It's the same for EMC, and a lot of our test areas, the most important thing is also that you keep the temperature in a really stable manner, so you're not able to have different temperatures, because that can also give different results. So making sure that that is aligning completely with the standard, that is crucial, and that's also why we have chosen some of the biggest test laboratories in the world, to make sure that it's just something that you just have. You do not really question that. So all these test labs that we are in and using, they are audited many times a year, to making sure that it's aligning completely perfect with the standard. So that is also why we have chosen to make sure that these are our partners, so we do not cooperate with smaller facilities. This is the EMI machine, showing the interference. Magnetic field radiation testing is also a very important part when it comes to the EMI testing. It is crucial when you want to have CE documentation on your product. That goes for a lot of different products. Of course, you do not put any clothing in here. It's most likely electronic products. But no matter what kind of electronic products you have, and if you want to have the CE documentation, this is needed. What we use this for when it comes to our manufacturing processes in Luxega, it is that we always test the LED insert installed inside the old lamp house. That makes it possible for us to actually complete a standard setup where we have a completely safety product after the testing. So it's not only the LED insert. Many others are just testing the LED insert where it's just like laying up here, but we are testing the LED insert that is installed in the old luminaire. That makes us one of the only suppliers in the world right now who is actually making sure that we can guarantee that the safety is 100% okay after you have changed to our LED inserts. The luminaire that is behind me is our LX10, that's the new street light that we will have. It is going through directly the same testing. So this test is crucial if you want CE documentation, and as I also said for the EMI, it's completely aligned with this test as well. At Luxega, safety is the absolutely highest priority that we have. The reason for that is because when we are manufacturing LED inserts, there is perfectly fitted into originally luminaires. What we have seen in the market is that our competitors, they are going through all the same tests that we also provide for our LED inserts. The big difference is that Luxega is actually the one and only who are doing the test where you have the original luminaire and install our LED inserts in that luminaire. There is a big difference. Not that the other thing is not legal, but the big difference is that you actually are able to have the same testing in the original luminaire together with our LED insert. That makes an absolutely high safety. The reason for that is because you have all the measurements based on our LED insert that is installed in the existing luminaire. This is how we provide data, and this is how we want to work together with our third-party authorities, which is the test laboratories that I'm standing in right now. The one in the back is the EMC laboratory. It is a huge room where you are able to test EMC. We have also EMI. We have a lot of different testing there is able to be done. And I'm quite proud to tell you that this is something that we do with all our LED inserts that is delivered to our clients. So expect extremely high safety with our products, and expect that we actually know what we are doing, and expect that there is no kind of, oh, what if there is no safety when we install the LED inserts. We have tested the complete luminaire, the old luminaire, together with our LED inserts. That's the big difference choosing Luxega compared to a lot of other LED inserts manufacturers on the market.